Welcome back to Water Watch, your go-to source for updates on water levels, drought conditions, and the state of our reservoirs across the western United States. Today, we're taking a close look at Lake Mead, Lake Powell, and the Great Salt Lake, as well as the latest drought conditions impacting the region. With water levels fluctuating and drought persisting in many areas, it's important to stay informed on what's happening and what we might expect in the coming months. Let's start with Lake Mead, the nation's largest reservoir and a critical water source for millions of people across Nevada, Arizona, California, and Mexico. As of now, Lake Mead's water level sits at 1,066 feet, which is 162 feet below full pool. The reservoir is currently 34% full, marking a slight improvement as it has risen 5 feet since its low for the water year, which began on October 1st. This gain is a positive sign, but Mead's long-term stability depends heavily on winter snowpack in the Colorado River Basin. With La Niña conditions expected to continue influencing weather patterns, precipitation levels will be crucial in determining whether this upward trend can be sustained heading into spring. Moving upstream to Lake Powell, another key reservoir on the Colorado River. Powell's current elevation is 3,567 feet, meaning it is 133 feet below full pool and sitting at 34% of capacity. Powell has dropped 20 feet from its 2024 high and will likely continue to decline until spring runoff begins. One key factor in Powell's future levels is the upper Colorado River Basin snowpack, which is currently at 76% of normal. This means that unless snowfall increases in the coming months, Powell's spring inflows could be lower than average, making it harder for the reservoir to recover significant volume. Now shifting focus to the Great Salt Lake in Utah, which has been struggling with long-term declines due to drought, upstream diversions, and climate change. As of today, the south arm of the lake is at 4,192.6 feet, which is down 2.4 feet from its high point in 2024. The north arm sits at 4,191.9 feet, marking a 3-inch drop from this year's peak. While these declines are not as steep as previous years, the lake remains at critically low levels, which threatens wildlife, local ecosystems, and air quality due to increased dust storms from exposed lakebed. Snowpack runoff this winter will be the determining factor in whether the lake stabilizes or continues its downward trend. Now let's take a wider look at drought conditions across the western United States. Much of the Southwest, along with Montana and Wyoming, is experiencing moderate to extreme drought, with Southern California among the hardest-hit areas. The lack of rainfall and prolonged dryness have contributed to destructive wildfires in the region, burning thousands of acres and forcing evacuations. Meanwhile, most of Utah and Idaho remain abnormally dry or in moderate drought, putting additional pressure on water supplies. On a more positive note, the Pacific Northwest and Colorado are mostly drought-free, thanks to recent storms and steady precipitation. As we move deeper into winter, we'll be watching closely to see whether these trends continue or if additional dry conditions develop in other areas. So, what does this all mean going forward? The next few months will be critical in determining whether Lake Mead and Lake Powell can gain additional water from snowpack and whether the Great Salt Lake can stabilize. La Niña conditions typically lead to drier weather in the southern United States, which could pose challenges for California, Nevada, and Arizona. However, a strong snowpack in the Rockies and Wasatch Mountains could provide some much-needed relief in the spring. The good news is that starting this weekend, a major pattern shift is expected to bring a much wetter period to the western United States. Forecast models show an atmospheric river developing, which could bring significant precipitation to parts of California, the Pacific Northwest, and even some areas of the Intermountain West. These systems have the potential to boost reservoir levels, improve drought conditions, and increase snowpack in the Sierra Nevada and Rocky Mountains. If this wetter pattern holds, it could be the start of a much-needed turnaround for water supplies in the region. That's it for this week's Water Watch. If you found this update helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future updates on water levels, drought conditions, and climate news across the West. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.